a custom of natives in New Guinea was to have rituals complete with songs and dances. They worked themselves up into a frenzy, and the ritual culminated in what are called the murder songs. In these murder songs, they shout before God the names of the people they wish to kill. When the natives became Christian, they retained these customs and rituals. However, in the murder songs, they no longer shouted the names of the people they hated. Instead, they shouted the names of the sins they hated and called on God to destroy them. If you have been keeping current with these daily devotionals, you see by now just how difficult the ministry of reconciliation can be. You are probably familiar with the following prayer. Dear God, so far today I've done all right. I haven't gossiped, I haven't lost my temper, I haven't been greedy, grumpy, nasty, selfish, or overindulgent. I'm very thankful for that. But in a few minutes, God, I'm going to get out of bed, and from then on, I'm probably going to need a lot of help. Amen. The ministry of reconciliation is impossible without a whole lot of help from God. When I was ordained, the bishop asked all of us a series of questions. The answer to many of those questions was, with God's help, I will. I cannot conceive of any ministry that requires God's help more than the ministry of reconciliation. The gift of reconciliation is risky faith. What if the person who hurt and betrayed you refuses your gift? Now you have been slapped in the face twice by the same person, and you are well on your way to finding out how hard it is to forgive someone 70 times 7 times. With God's help, what if you offer the gift of reconciliation? You are reunited, and yet your anger and your pain resurface. Well, what are you going to do? You aren't ready for true reconciliation. With God's help. I am certain that all of these excuses and many more have been used to avoid reconciling with someone who was once in your life, but now is not. Reconciliation is a risk and a tremendous burden to bear. It's risky with God's help. The oldest Christian site in Ireland is said to be St. Patrick's Cathedral in Dublin. It is a beautiful building, but it also has an interesting piece of history involving one of its doors. It is known as the Door of Reconciliation. There is a rectangular hole hacked out of its center. In 1492, two prominent Irish families, the Ormonds and the Kildares, were in the midst of a bitter feud. As the feud grew and turned into an all-out fight, the Earl of Ormond was besieged by the Earl of Kildare. The Earl of Ormond and his family and followers took refuge in the chapter house of St. Patrick's Cathedral and bolted themselves in. However, as the siege wore on, the Earl of Kildare concluded that the feuding was foolish. Here were two families worshiping the same God in the same church, living in the same community and country, trying to kill each other. So Kildare called out to the Earl of Ormond and pledged that he would not seek revenge or indulge in villainy. He wanted the Ormonds to come out and the feud to be over. But the Earl of Ormond was convinced that it was a scheme full of treachery and refused to come out of the cathedral. So Kildare grabbed his spear, chopped a hole in the door with it, and thrust his hand through. There was a tense moment until his hand was grasped by another hand inside the church. The door was opened, and the two men embraced, thus ending the family feud. The Scottish have a saying, chancing one's arm. It came about from this incident at St. Patrick's. It means to take a chance, especially in reaching out to someone in reconciliation, with God's help. Perhaps you noticed that I did not begin this devotional in my usual way. I decided that you might need to hear it now, at the end, more than at the beginning. The Lord be with you.